And it's finally time for us to play Dragonmaids on the channel. The structure deck just dropped, and this is actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Um, I am running 2 C in this variant. You could cut that if you wanted to, just because Flowender is still very prevalent in the meta at the time of making this video, and they do not special summon. So, I mean, they can special summon, but typically they do not. So, you don't really need max C if you don't want to. Next, we're going to move on to Nurse Dragonmaid. This is probably the one I use the least. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster in graveyard except Nurse, special summon it. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 7 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use each effect Nurse once per turn. Next, we got 2 Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom is a good card. And next, we got 2 Kitchen. When Kitchen is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Dragonmaid monster from your deck to your hand, except Dragonmaid Kitchen, then send 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand to the graveyard. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon 1 level 8 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. So you can add the level 8 one, which is the red one, and then at the start of the battle phase, you can swap and tag out for it. And you can only use each effect of Kitchen once per turn. Next we have Parlor, and I'm running 3 Parlor. I think Parlor is very good, because Parlor, when it's normal summon or special summon, lets you send a Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard, which you can send Tidying, and then banish Tidying from the graveyard, and special summon a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard to defense. So that's a pretty neat little combo right there. And at the start of the battle phase, you can return it from you can return it to your hand and special summon a level 8 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. So that'll be this one or this one. Most of the time you'll go with Lopar, because Lopar can also tag out and bring you the level 3, which that one's level 3. And Kitchen is also level 3, which useful. So once again, you can only use each effect of Parlor once per turn. Next we have 1 Destiny Hero Celestial, which we're having paired with the 1 Dasher, the 2 Fusion Destiny, and the 1 Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, because having Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer as an option is pretty good, and being able to draw 2 from Celestial is pretty good. And the Dasher effect is also very good in this deck, because say I draw Parlor or Chamber or Kitchen, I can special them with a Dasher effect and then get their effect and then still have my normal summon and potentially a second special summon from Tidying. So the Destiny engine in here is just really useful all around, and even when I've dead drawn it, it's not been the worst thing. Next, we're moving on to Chamber Dragonmaid, which in my opinion is the best Dragonmaid. When it's normal or special summoned, you can add a Dragonmaid spell or trap from your deck to your hand. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon 1 level 7 or higher Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use each effect of Chamber Dragonmaid once per turn. And then next we have 2 Fallen Albaz. This card is a dragon, and it also gets you out of some tight spots with your opponent's field. I have frequently used Fallen Albaz to fuse it in a dark monster on my opponent's board and to start making Venom, and I've also used it to fuse into Titan Keeland Ash Dragon, which is 1 monster with 2,500 or more attack. So you can even fusion summon that using one of your opponent's Flender monsters. It's really useful. The Penguin one particularly. And then next we have 1 Dragonmaid Ernest. I haven't really used this card very much, but sometimes you might need it. Cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a fusion monster. You can only use each effect of Ernest once per turn. Quick effect, you can discard this card, special summon 1 level 4 lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand, so it's a decent extender. And at the end of the battle phase, you return this card to the hand, special summon 1 level 2 Dragonmaid monster from your hand, which would be the Nurse, which most of the time you won't do that. And on top of that, it's only from hand. And then next we have the Dragonmaid we looked at earlier, the Dragonmaid Tinkek. Cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a fusion monster. Only use each of the effects of this Dragonmaid once per turn. You can discard this card and target the Dragonmaid monster you control. It gains 2,000 attack until the end of this turn. That is really useful for beating over big monsters. And it's any Dragonmaid, so you can make that fusion just be really chunky with 5,500 potentially. And then the next one is at the end of the battle phase. You can return it to your hand. Special summon one level 3 Dragonmaid monster from your hand, which is going to be this or this. And then next we have Dragonmaid Lord Power. This one also cannot be destroyed by card effects, but you control a fusion monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Lord Power once per turn. You can discard this card, target one face-up monster in the field. Players cannot activate that target's effects on the field this turn. So it's decent to lock out like one card effect. At the end of the battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one level 3 Dragonmaid monster from your hand. And then next we go onward. We've already covered Fusion Destiny. Next we have Hospitality. I'm running 3 Hospitality. You can special summon a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense, and then send a Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck to your graveyard. You can only activate 1 Hospitality per turn. And then we have 2 Changeover. We're only running 2 because it can recycle itself. Fusion summon 1 Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. When this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control, add it to your hand, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. You can only use this effect of Changeover once per turn, so you can bounce something that you might not want to leave on the field and get a fusion. Pretty good effect. Then we have 2 Pot of Prosperity for consistency, and then 1 Dragonmaid Welcome. All monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for each Dragonmaid monster you control. If you control 2 or more Dragonmaid monsters, you can target 1 Dragonmaid card in your graveyard, except Dragonmaid Welcome, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect for Dragonmaid Welcome once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot target Dragonmaid monsters you control with card effects this turn. And then we have 2 Called by the Grave, because this card just comes in clutch so often lately. 2 Infinite Impermanence. 3 Dragonmaid Tidying. And this is target 1 dragon monster you control, 1 card your opponent controls, or in their graveyard, which means you can also target DPE to bounce it back to their deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but return it to the hand during the end phase. You can only use 1 Dragonmaid Tidying effect per turn, only once that turn. So I really like this card. It's came in clutch so many times in the replays, as you'll see. Then we have 2 Ice Dragon Prisons. This card is useful disruption. I am thinking about removing it for something to kind of stop Flender more. I was thinking maybe of you running a better Floodgate, like Summon Limit, or maybe even running something like Lava Golem or Kaiju, or just something to disrupt or interrupt more than Ice Dragon Prison, because this particular card doesn't have the best matchup against a lot of decks in the meta, but it is useful. But just keep that in mind in case you do want to exchange it for something that you feel is more relevant. Next we have 1 Dragonmaid Downtime. It's a continuous trap, and you can target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control and activate the following effects. Return it to hand, and if you do, add a Dragonmaid card from your deck to your hand except Downtime. Return it to hand, and if you do, return 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls to the hand. You can only use this effect of Dragonmaid Downtime once per turn. And next we get to the extra deck. We have 1 Starving Venom, 1 Titan Keyland Ash Dragon. These are our targets for Fallen Valbaz. 1 Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. 3 House Dragonmaid, which is 1 Dragonmaid monster and 1 Dragon monster. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target 1 other Dragonmaid monster you control, special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, whose level is 1 higher or 1 lower than it. When another face-up monster, dragon monsters you control returns to the hand, except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. That is really fun to combo with this, or just to use their battle phase like tag in and out effects. And then we have 3 Dragonmaid Xiao. I'm just going to say it that way. 1 Dragonmaid monster, 1 level 5 or higher dragon monster, so one of the big ones. During each standby phase, you can special summon 1 level 9 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate the activation, And if you do, destroy that card, and then also after that, return this card to the extra deck and special summon one house Dragonmaid from your extra deck. You can only use each effect of Dragonmaid's share once per turn. So this card is a powerhouse and has been really clutch in most of the games I've played with Dragonmaids. And then we have one Striker Dragon. This is one level 4 lower dragon monster. If this card is link summoned, you can add a boot sector launch from your deck to your hand. We're not doing that. You can target one face-up monster you control and one rocket monster in your graveyard, destroy that monster on the field, and if you do, that other monster from the graveyard gets added to your hand. We're not going to use that either. This is pretty much here just to be a link 1 dragon that we can tag out into, because sometimes we might want these guys in the graveyard. Because if it's in the graveyard, I can say tag out to this if it's left on the field last turn or whatever, and then activate Hospitality, would just be an example of one of the things you can do. Next we have Heroic Sale of Heavenly Spheres. It's 2 dragon monsters, once per turn during your opponent's turn. If it's in the extra monster zone, you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field. Return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. If this card is tributed, special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck. Make its attack and defense 0. You can only use this effect to Heroic Sale of the Heavenly Spheres once per turn. So you can basically tag out and get a Dragonmaid effect on your opponent's turn, which is pretty sweet. And then we, of course, have the one Predaplant Verte Anaconda. If this gets banned in the future, we'll probably change the main deck and the extra deck to be a little bit more Dragon Link heavy instead of more like DPE combo heavy with the Albaz and the Dragonmaid monsters. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Enjoy the replays. I'm going to go over what I'm doing in the replays just in case this is, for some reason, someone's first introduction to Dragonmaid. And as always, this video is sponsored by W Energy. You can use the link below and the code SirLargeGaming to get 10% off. Their pink lemonade dragon fruit flavor is pretty good. My favorite is the peach mango. I like them a lot more than canned energy drinks from the store because I feel like they give me more energy, and it works out to being a lot cheaper. I personally have kind of just been happy ditching stuff like Red Bull or Monster and drinking W. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into the replays. I'm not going to shill my sponsor any longer. And we're going to get right up to these replays. Replay. And we're going to go into a couple. This one's the fastest. It's only 2 turns. My opponent surrendered pretty much because there was just kind of like a blowout that occurred. So here we go. Summon, add to hand, get DPE on board. Set, and so now we have something to return and something to destroy and something to get graveyard effects. We're instantly going to get rid of the Golden Lord, and they're pretty much going to scoop because they are really screwed here. Because I could destroy a back row if I wanted, and I could also bounce a back row so they couldn't activate something. And since Outlich is a back row deck, that kind of cripples them. So being able to have that set up is pretty good. Next, we're going to go into one that was a little bit of a longer game. This one was 6 turns, and it was more back and forth instead of me just saying, oh, I have the setup. Can you break it? So here we go. Of course, we draw the double ice dragons, and we say, well, this isn't super great, but we're going to make lemons out of lemonade. And we're just going to set, and we're just going to play around whatever they have using our back row. So here comes 10 Ys. They were really desperate to make the Halley Fabrics, and they did, but it's okay because we're going to say no to it anyway. We're going to say no to it again. No damage, no nothing. And we're just going to go right into doing more shenanigans. And of course, they're going to do that a second time. I'm going to ash twice on the parlor. It's like, can you please stop? And I'm going to get max seed on the parlor. But that's okay. We're doing it anyway. So here comes another 10 Yi. And then here comes another 10 Yi. And we said, well, we don't want them to get any effects. And so we're finally going to do more shenanigans here. Will we finally get to resolve parlor? I think so. So parlor, and then tidying, and then chamber, and then fusion. You can see how the deck is just like very circular. And then on top of that, we're going to tag out for the one we just fused with. And it's going to be the 10E. We don't want them to get any advantage or block attacks. So we're going to negate the effect to tag out. And we're just going to go ahead and go from here. And they must have not had anything. And even if they did, we had back row down for them. So it was nice how we could kind of play that as more of a control deck. I have found out that Dragonmaids can push damage or they can play around their back row, and both versions are kind of nice when running a mostly pure version of Dragonmaid. We are running the DP because I like destroying things, and Verte is at 1 right now. If Verte gets banned, we'll probably do more like a Dragon Link centered Dragonmaid. But here's Sword Soul doing Sword Soul things, and we're just going to hopefully get over the Sword Soul. So here comes Baron. Baron doing Baron things. We have the Fusion Destiny. They're going to go ahead and Ash hit. We wanted to bait the Baron, but that's okay. They're going to stop the Fusion card as well. And this is when we're just going to say, okay, well, back to it. Fuse anyway. Get Shuyu, and then play the thing that makes it stronger, beat over floor, and set our next Fusion Destiny and pass turn. So my opponent basically couldn't do anything that turn, which is very lucky for me, and we're just going to do shenanigans. More shenanigans, even more shenanigans. Of course, we get gammaed, and we say fuck the gamma, but they say too bad for us. They have the designator. Gamma happens. We lose our big boss monster, and I'd hear I'm like, oh, I'm sweating this a little bit, but they realize, never worry, I can just make another one, and I can add a card back, and I can add a card back. So by this point, we're just like, oh, okay, this deck is pretty cool. This was literally the first game I played with Dragonmaids. Like, the deck is very straightforward. And how it plays, so I was just like, don't know why I didn't make DPE during battle phase. I guess because I wanted one to be in the grave and the driver to be banished, so they couldn't do shenanigans later. Of course, here's the Maxi. They get a card, I get a card, everybody gets a card. And more Sword Soul shenanigans. I'm really just like not wanting them to get card advantage. It did stink that they got the Maxi on me, but it's okay. So here we go with the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. They're going to activate the thing to get rid of it, and I'm going to lose board, but once again it's okay because we have the DPE package to kind of float us for the bad plays we just made. On top of that, we have the trap cards to consistently extend to the point where we will be building a pretty nice board. I'm pretty happy with the fact that we just said, oh, you're going to destroy our board? Well, here's another monster, and another one, and another one. So, Dragonmaids are pretty fun. I don't think they're super competitive, and with the meta right now, I think that Flunder could probably easily body them. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a structure deck that you can easily pick up. So if this is what you want to roll with, you can roll with it. I was able to go from Diamond 5 to Diamond 4 playing it, so I was able to climb in Diamond running it. But yeah, hope you guys like this video, and let me know if you want more deck profiles down below. And for everything Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Let's Play, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.